Assalamu alaikum, Elena here, the Muslim travel girl, and today we are talking about Umrah visa and a tourist visa and what is the difference between the two and which one you should be issuing for yourself if you're planning to go for Umrah. This question has been asked so many times, and I do have a full article on how to issue a tourist visa and what is the difference between a tourist visa and an Umrah visa on muslimtravelgirl.com. But I thought, why not? It's been asked so many times. Let's do a video as well on it. So without further ado, let's get started. I'm going to start with the tourist visa. The tourist visa was designed in 2018 when Saudi Arabia opened the country to tourists. One of their plans for 2030 was to actually have more tourists and open the country more for people to explore and visit, because in all honesty, Saudi Arabia has so many nice historical monuments that it's really a shame if people don't see them. And you would probably see that over the past few years, they have done a lot of marketing campaigns for that. With the tourist visa, they also allowed for us to do Umrah. So if you are to go to explore Saudi Arabia, you can also do Umrah if you're a Muslim, of course. And this is such an amazing thing for Muslims because it made life so much easier. This means that we don't need more expensive visa that fluctuate between Ramadan time and other times. We don't actually have to go through an agent. We can do everything ourselves. Now, who is the tourist visa for? The tourist visa is for a lot of countries that can, that have a European passport or United Kingdom passport or US passport or Canada passport. And also, actually, they recently opened it up for people who have indefinite leave to remain in these countries, and also people who have active visas for those countries as well. So let's say you have a passport that doesn't normally qualify for a tourist visa, but you have a visa to the United States, for example, that is 10 years, and you still have a few years in that visa, you can issue a tourist visa by yourself. This is a category B option, which you do still need to go through the embassy, but the process is so much easier, and also the price is so much lower, because the price for a tourist visa at the moment is about £125, and it also covers insurance. It is a very basic insurance, but it is still there, although I do always recommend to get some extra insurance. Now, with the tourist visa, actually, not only can you do Umrah and you can visit other countries, but it's also super easy to issue it yourself. I do have a full article on Muslim Travel Girl about issuing a tourist visa with step-by-step guide of how to do it and where to click and things like that. But basically, it is a very simple process of uploading your photo, saying where you're going, the purpose of your visit. I normally click on all three of them that says tourist, family, or Umrah, just because I can do all three of them. And also, this visa is a multi-entry visa. So you have 90 days for 1 year. So the visa is valid for 1 year, and you can stay in the country for 90 days. And it is multi-entry and multi-exit. So you can come for 2 weeks in January, and then you can go back for 2 weeks in September or something. As long as you haven't overstayed 90 days, you can come and go in the country as you please. The other benefit of this is, and it's a question that I get asked a lot, is whether you need meningitis vaccine for a tourist visa. You do not. If it is not a requirement for you to issue the visa, you do not need a meningitis vaccine. And let me say this, because people are like, where does it state it? The statement is of what is required for the tourist visa. In that statement, there is nowhere that it says that you need meningitis vaccine. And I am saying that because people have asked me. There is no way to explain it. I have actually spoken with the customer service of the Saudi tourist visa, and they have said that you don't need it because it is not part of the requirements, basically. So in reality, you don't actually need it. Because think about it, if you were to get all these millions of tourists that are going to Saudi Arabia to do a meningitis vaccine, nobody would have actually done a meningitis vaccine. The meningitis vaccine is only required for an Umrah visa. So this is the visa we're going to talk about later. Now, if you want to do the meningitis vaccine because you are on a tourist visa, but you are going for Umrah and you don't want something happening to you, then of course, you're more than welcome to do it yourself, but it's not a requirement part of your visa process. With regards to Umrah visa, What is the difference? It is the same principle of what the Umrah visa always was. It's for the purpose specifically for Umrah. It is for countries who cannot actually issue a tourist visa. There are a lot of them like Pakistan, Bangladesh, that cannot issue a tourist visa. They can only issue an Umrah visa. The Umrah visa requires a package with an agent that provides it, and you can only issue it through an agent. You cannot issue the Umrah visa online. And also the Umrah visa is much more expensive than it would have been normally, because the tourist visa is 120. I believe the Umrah visa is about £200 at the moment, where it stands. And also with the Umrah visa, you do have those restrictions of not being able to explore Saudi Arabia, because obviously it's not a tourist visa. You can only stay in Mecca, Medina, Jeddah. That's about it. And you have to go with an agent and with a group, which is of course much more expensive, and unfortunately has all these restrictions. And of course, as I mentioned, you also need the meningitis vaccine, and things like that. Now, another thing that has started recently is with regards to Zamzam water, and I am doing another video which I'm going to post at the end of this for you to click with all the updates. But with regards to the Zamzam water at the moment, a lot of the airlines are not allowing people on a tourist visa to get Zamzam, and only those on an Umrah visa. So one of the benefits of actually having an Umrah visa is to get Zamzam back to home. Unfortunately, at the moment, no questions asked, people with Umrah visas get Zamzam. Those with tourist visas are struggling. There is about 70% who gets denied of taking Zamzam with them. And I have spoken to a few people who have told me that the officials are stating that it is not really the Saudi law, but it is actually the airlines who don't want to carry the extra weight, because of course 5 liters of Zamzam is very heavy on a plane with fewer cost, etc. So they're actually refusing to let people on tourist visas to have Zamzam back, which is very unfortunate. So to recap, the difference between a tourist visa and an Umrah visa is that tourist visas are a lot easier to issue. They're a lot faster to issue because you can get a decision within like 5 minutes. They have less restrictions because you can also tour the country as well as perform Umrah. You have 90 days to do that within 1 year. So you have a multi-entry, multi-exit visa, where the Umrah visa, it's much more restrictive. It is only for agents. You can issue it only through agents. It is for countries who cannot issue actually a tourist visa. It is more expensive. It is one entry time. So it's one-off time. You don't have the flexibility that you have with a tourist visa. And also you require the meningitis certificate. And it is a much more expensive process and lengthy process. And also during Ramadan, the restriction is that you have middle of Ramadan maximum to issue your visa, because then they close and they have more restrictions of when can you go between Ramadan and Hajj period. But apart from that, these are the differences. What works for you, it really depends. If you are in the UK, in the West, in the US, in Canada, of course, the tourist visa is so much more easier. If Zamzam water is really important to you, unfortunately, you can ship it. I have heard people of shipping it, but also you can issue an Umrah visa. But hopefully this video was beneficial for you. You learned something new, and if you want more of these videos, give it a thumbs up, like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Assalamu alaikum.